Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Affan and welcome to another video. So before beginning this video, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been sticking around with the channel, and I see we've got so many new subscribers from Ali Abdaal's video. So yeah, welcome aboard guys. Anyway, so this video title is not a clickbait one. It's how I got an interview with Ali Abdaal using the third door. So yeah, let's get right into it. So a couple of weeks ago, I collaborated with Ali Abdaal for a video podcast episode, and it was a dream come true. But getting him onto the podcast was a complete different story, and I would like to share that story with you guys. So the story begins around 2 to 3 months ago when I was seeing a video on Thomas Frank's channel, and it was the biggest and the most ambitious collaboration ever for study something. So I love the video, I love the idea of other people working, and so what I did was when I was working, right, so what I used to do is I used to put the video on my second screen and work on my first screen. It was really good, right? When you're working on 3 a.m. there's no one else to call and talk with, so you can just put the video on, you can see some people working over there, and you get motivated to continue on your work. So I see this guy on there, small box, Ali Abdaal, right? I see the keyboard and I love the keyboard, so I just go onto his channel. Yup, that's the reason I went onto his channel, that he was having a really clean setup. I love that. Anyways, I went onto the channel and I was really surprised. I think the content that he was posting, that was the exact content that I was interested in. So quickly I became a fan of his content. I binged through all of these videos like a Netflix series, and I love the content because he thinks differently, right? The concept of hacking things, I love that, and I love the way Matt D'Avella makes videos, so I love Ali Abdaal. There were so many circumstances that motivated me to start a podcast. One of them was Ali Abdaal. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make episodes of podcasts, and I'm gonna make it, and my goal is to have Ali Abdaal onto the podcast. So that was my goal basically when I started the podcast. So I started reaching out to people on Twitter, and they were generous enough to come onto my little show. After around 4 to 5 episodes, I felt like I'm ready to have Ali Abdaal on the podcast. But then I realized that Ali Abdaal is a really big YouTuber. He probably gets shit ton of emails every day, right? I can't just go on an email and expect a reply. So I had to do something different. I didn't know what to do. Anyway, so I started listening to his podcast, Not Overthinking. Amazing podcast, by the way. So Not Overthinking is ran by Ali Abdaal and Taimur Abdaal. So I realized, what if I go onto Taimur Abdaal's account and probably ask him to come onto the podcast? This way I probably make a collaboration possible. So I went onto Taimur Abdaal's account and I tweeted, and I got a reply. That was good. And he replied. He was really generous and kind enough to come onto the show. And he was like, Ali is really happy with the idea of this. So you know that feeling, right? It's like that feeling when everything is going the way it is supposed to be. I'm jumping around the room. I start calling in my sister on my phone. I was like, Ali Abdaal is happy to come onto my podcast. And then he told me to email his assistant to choose a specific time with his convenience. I was jumping around the room. I got the email address, right? I emailed, and I got a reply. I'm just gonna show it on screen, right? I'm just gonna read it through there. It's very difficult to even think about it. Hi Affan, I'll set you and Ali a time after August. He's quite busy at the moment. Best wishes. So at that time I was completely broken. I was like, okay, sometime probably after August. So I went on to Taimur Bhai again. I told that the assistant told this. So he was like, I think you have to stick with me. And I was like, wait, why is he saying that, man? He has done so much in his life, and he's like so generous enough to say that you have to stick with me. I don't know. So I do the episode with him, and it's called Datasets of Employment and Entrepreneurship. So the episode was around 17 minutes long, and we talked about data science, and I had so much fun. And the people listened to the podcast and started messaging me, thanking Taimur Bhai with the advices. I don't know how someone can be so generous and be telling like that, man. It was a really great episode, a short episode and an informative one. All of that packaged into one. It was an amazing episode. If you guys are interested in data science and want to begin a career in data science, the episode will be linked down in the description. Now, so I had the podcast. Taimur Bhai enjoyed the podcast, and he was happy to listen to the podcast, and I was really happy. So we did the podcast episode, and I still had this one thing that, okay, sometime after August, probably, no problem, I'll be going ahead and making more episodes. I'm gonna go ahead and push more content. I'm gonna go ahead and expand my YouTube channel again. Anyway, so I went on, I worked really hard. I bought a new camera. Then I started pushing videos on YouTube again. I put on 2 videos, I guess, before the Ali Abdaal's podcast. And it was really amazing, the support I got on the channel. So I continued more. And then one day, I was just scrolling Twitter like a waste man, right? So Ali Abdaal posts something like this. Don't you feel like a twat when someone wants to meet / call you, but you have to tell them that schedule something with the assistant? So I respond to him on his Twitter handle and I say, well, your assistant did that to me. We were supposed to meet, Ali. And he goes, meet? Lockdown, mate. So I reply with, oh no, a Zoom video podcast episode. So he goes like, oh yeah, lol. Oh yeah, lol. That reply, I don't know how long it took to reply that thing. At that moment I was going nuts because I saw the reply. Okay, what does oh yeah, lol means? Literally, what does it mean? I do not know what it means. So I went on to it, I called my friends, I was like, yo, he said, oh yeah, lol. What does that mean? So I get tensed enough and then I reply again. I gave him a Shark Tank pitch. Then I start laughing at the pitch, but the pitch was good. I give the pitch and then he says, will it be okay at 9 a.m. BST? It was 1:30 a.m. in the night. So I went on to Google and I tried typing 9 a.m. BST to IST. It was 1:30 p.m. It was an interview that I was waiting for such a long time. The interview that was probably gonna happen in August somewhere is gonna take place within 12 hours. I was really tense. I started calling up my friends at the end of the night. I called up everyone. I was like, okay, we have an interview. We have to prepare a list of questions that he hasn't answered on his channel. Now, that is a really difficult part, guys. He's covered so much content on his channel that it is very difficult to ask new questions. But I still went ahead, and with the help of my friends, we were able to make good questions. The podcast went really good. This is the third door, and I'm gonna link it down in the description. So I'm not an avid reader, but Ali Abdaal recommended me the book by telling me that I'm a third door kind of guy. So I was curious to know what it means, and that's why I started reading the book. I really recommend this book to everyone who's trying to get into self-development and likes to think out of the box. So to understand the concept of the third door, I have to explain you about the part where Alex tries to get an interview with Tim Ferris. And this story probably might sound you familiar. So the author is on the quest to uncover how the third door can be used to get onto the path of success. So here's how the story goes. So let's start with the story on page 47. This is the part that I'm really interested in. Alex meets with Tim Ferris, and they meet in a bathroom. So Alex tells about the mission that he wants to do. So Tim Ferris was really impressed, and he tells to email his assistant. So he goes on to emailing his assistant, but the assistant didn't reply. He also brought some proof. So he bought the copies of the emails he's been sending to his assistant. Tim Ferris laughs and he's like, okay, I'll get back to you in 2 to 3 days. But he started emailing assistant after that. There was no replies. And Alex was broken because his mission to interview Bill Gates was stopped just because he was like, if I can't get Tim Ferris, then that means I cannot get Bill Gates. That was all going on that mind, and I felt really connected with the feeling of being lost when you've done so much work. So after around 2 to 3 months, he was still persistently emailing Tim Ferris' assistant, but there was no reply. And he was gonna give up at this point, but out of nowhere, he got an email from his assistant telling your interview will be within 12 hours. And I think Ali probably knew that I used the third door on him. And the funny part is, I didn't even knew that I was using the third door. I didn't even read the book, and I got the book recommendation after I was on the podcast episode with him. So yeah, that's it for the video, guys. It was a story time kind of videos. Now many of you guys were interested in how I got an interview with Ali Abdaal, even though I don't have a lot of subscribers. I was so astonished how relatable this story was to me. I think that's the reason why Ali Abdaal called me a third door kind of guy. So yeah, guys, hope you guys have a really nice time. Guys, take care, stay safe. COVID-19 is on the rise, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.